Hey everyone, today we have the Luke Skywalker and Grogu 2-pack from Book of Boba Fett. This was sent over to me from my friend in Taiwan who is linked below. That is Return of the Nerd Star Wars. Thank you so much, Gary, for getting this to me early. On the box art here, we see Luke and Grogu, and then we see a little bit of Black Krrsantan's shoulder pad there. It's exciting to see that since we know that the figure is just on the horizon now. Then we also see Grogu in the back there, which I think is interesting since he's on the box art twice. Classic render of the figure on the back, and then some heights on the side here, but since we have two figures, we get the tissue paper is already ripped. It's interesting to see that the accessories all came in a little box here that has its own tissue paper on it, and then inside is more tissue paper with all the accessories wrapped. So it's cool that they put a little bit extra care to make sure none of the little pieces get lost here. We're going to compare this to the Mandalorian Luke Skywalker in just a second. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the sculpt. We do see the torso overlay onto the chest piece like we've seen before, but I think the most effective way to talk about this figure is to compare it to the Mandalorian Luke that we just got a few months ago. And I was actually surprised at how little reuse there is here. It looks like the arms are reused. The paint color is just slightly different, and it looks like there's a little bit of a difference in shine between the two figures. But if you really set them side by side, you can notice a little bit of a difference, but I think that the arms are pretty much the exact same sculpt. It looks a little bit sharper on the right, but you can see that the legs and the boots and even the feet are all brand new on this new Luke, unless they are reused from something that I'm not recognizing here, but they have no pins, so that means it's, you know, more of a recent sculpt. So it looks like the legs are newly tooled, but they would work great as a Farm Boy Luke repaint, which is great because we're desperately in need of a new Farm Boy Luke in the Black Series. This one here is actually the SH Figuarts, and actually also later in the video I'm going to see how he looks with this Fett clone head, since you guys know I love a custom painted head. And we'll look into the articulation after we look at some of the accessories here. We're gonna just rip all of these open. First we have this little blast effect here. It has a little cardboard protector on it. I thought it was damaged at first, but it actually is sculpted like that. Next, comparing his lightsaber to the Mandalorian Luke lightsaber on the bottom, they look identical. I can't really see any differences here, and they are the exact same height. So we have the little plastic flight stand that allows Grogu to look like he's soaring through the air. Then we've got Yoda's tiny little ignited lightsaber here. You can see how small it is compared to Luke's lightsaber. Then we have the tiny unlit hilt from Yoda's lightsaber that will fit into this little box. Nice engineering on the box. It clicks closed the way it's supposed to. Then we have the little gift for Grogu that is shaped like his head with the chainmail sweater inside. The little training ball that we saw with the Skywalker Strikes Luke. The little frog that we've seen a bunch of times packaged with Grogu. In this package we have the backpack. Oh, and Grogu himself. I actually forgot that Grogu was included in this. And this Grogu has like a longer neck peg here and a ball joint, so it can look up a little bit more. Someone said that another Grogu has had a ball joint, but I don't remember any of the Black Series figures being able to tilt their head this far back. Then we have a little bit more flexibility on the arms that I'm used to seeing with Grogu. Again, I might be totally missing something here, but it seems like an improvement considering he has to look upwards towards Luke. So here he is with the Maldo Kryze Grogu, which had very little articulation, as well as the one that came with the Mando and Ahsoka 3-pack there. Next we're going to look at the backpack which we saw with the Luke and Yoda Dagobah 2-pack. This one has a little bit of a piece inside just to give Grogu a little bit of a booster, so when he sits in there, let's see, we have to get his arms up I suppose, but that way his head sticks out and he is the correct height so he doesn't just get lost in that bag because it's about as tall as he is. We also have the clear plastic stand here with the poles. You can have the training ball floating. This came with the Skywalker Strikes Luke a few years ago, but everything fits snugly. And then we've got the little rock piece here. Pretty basic, just a little bit of green paint on there on the mossy areas. You can also plug in the blast effect to the little training ball there, and then this clear piece goes into Grogu's foot, and then you can have him floating off the rock and just make it look like he's jumping. I always think it would be less distracting if pieces that are supposed to be invisible were just black instead of clear, but I also tend to display my things on a black backdrop, so I guess that wouldn't be the case for everyone. On a white backdrop, the clear would probably work better, but I kind of like how it's a ball joint on the foot technically, and you can just get him into exactly the position that you want. And this kind of looks like a motion blur or something. I like the way that they designed the stand to kind of mimic the motion that he would be moving in. Here we see how Yoda's lightsaber fits nicely into the box here. Did have to jiggle it around a little bit to get it centered, but it's a pretty decent fit there. The backpack still has the frustrating design where you have to plug the soft peg into that hole, which doesn't really work. It's pretty much a pain, but you can see the elbow articulation here, not really enough to get a hand on the strap while he's wearing the backpack. Even in the promo photo, they just show him holding the very bottom of the strap there if you want to make it look like he's sort of interacting with that. But Grogu does fit in nicely, and he has even some room to rotate, so you can have him facing outwards as you display it on your shelf, and this had no problem standing up. The price point is a little bit high for what you get. This retails for $45. You know, you get a couple of accessories that we've gotten before, like the training ball and the stand, as well as some newer things, but I don't know, nothing in here is too exciting. I think this could have just been Luke and Grogu in the backpack at retail price and it would have been acceptable. But I do think it's exciting to get some new accessories in the Black Series from time to time. Some quick height comparisons here to the Mandalorian and Ahsoka that we got in the 2-pack from Amazon. So let's now see how this figure looks with the custom head from the artist called FetClone, who I will have linked in the description below. This looks awesome. I really love the way that this is coming together. I think I'm definitely going to have to use this custom head because the likeness on the head is just really not there. But I am happy with the way that this looks now that I have this. It just needs a little bit of a mending. We see him here next to the custom Ahsoka that Frederick's Figures painted for me. Mandalorian with some custom parts, just a whole bunch of stuff from FetClone in here as well. If you want to see more of my collection, I have a collection tour video available on my channel. Please leave a quick like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. Here are some other videos that you might enjoy, and I'll see you all next time.